I've been through this sort of thing before. That's why when I was on the air last night on radio, 6 p.m. Eastern, and it had just broken that the President of the United States fired James Comey, I read on the air then, as we will do some today, why he did what he did, the Deputy Attorney General's memorandum to the Attorney General of the United States, the Attorney General's letter to the President attaching the Deputy Attorney General's memorandum, in which both are recommending the removal of the Director of the FBI, which the President did. There's no constitutional issue here. You're going to hear these Democrats dressed up as journalists, many of whom worked for the Clinton administration, the Obama administration, either outrightly or behind the scenes supporting them, the same Praetorian Guard media that protect Barack Obama from legitimate scrutiny about his unconstitutional actions, now in a full phony huff. A couple of things. There is no constitutional issue. The President of the United States has an absolute right to fire the Director of the FBI. That's number one. Number two, no, this is not Watergate and Nixon and all the rest of it. There's no underlying crime. There is an investigation. It seems interminable. It goes on and on and on about the supposed collusion between the Russians and Donald Trump and his campaign. Side note on that, Hillary Clinton, and no doubt in my mind, did more to provide classified information to the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, and the North Koreans than Donald Trump or anyone on his campaign ever could, because they didn't have classified information, and Hillary Clinton did. And she created a private server in her home as Secretary of State to get around the entire security apparatus at the State Department. And she received classified information, and she sent classified information on an unsecured server in her home. Now, is there any doubt in anybody's mind that our enemies and adversaries and maybe some friends picked off that information? There's no question. On the one hand, the Democrats like to say, correctly, that the Russians were involved in our election. There's no question they were. Not that they influenced the outcome, no. But if they were involved in our election and they could break through various security measures that were in place at the DNC and that have been in place in other parts of our government, don't you think they had an easy time, slim pickings over there on Hillary Clinton's private server? Of course they did. And the rest of our enemies and adversaries. They want an appointment of an independent special prosecutor. Why? They've always wanted one. Why? Because they want the taint of an ongoing criminal investigation. They want that cloud on top of this administration right to the end. And then they'll do their fundraising and their campaigning in the next election cycle, where they hope to take the House and even the Senate maybe, and claim, look, this administration is under investigation, criminal investigation, with ties to the Russians. They've got no evidence of anything after all these months. 10 months of this stuff. 10 months. You've got Clapper up there yesterday for the 5,000th time saying there's no evidence of collaboration. One after another, they say the same thing. But it doesn't stop the Democrats, because they want Trump out. And they want to take the House. And they want to take the House not only because they're power mad, but because you need the House to draw up articles of impeachment. Oh, yes. I know these people. I know what they're doing. I told you the day after the election, this is exactly what's going on. I don't care if you support Donald Trump or not, if you supported him in the primary and the general, or if you supported somebody else in the primary or the general. What we're talking about here is our republic. And these constant coup efforts dressed up as legal measures and oversight and all the rest. And all the rest. Now, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States is a fellow by the name of Rosenstein. Rosenstein worked for Bill Clinton, and he worked for George W. Bush. He was an assistant U.S. attorney under a Democrat U.S. attorney, and he was the United States attorney in Maryland under President Bush. This man doesn't have a political bone in his body. Now, if he were a Democrat and this were a Democrat administration, you'd have somebody like Sally Yates, a Democrat political hack from day one. She served as Deputy Attorney General and then later as Acting Attorney General, where she tried to undermine a sitting president with her phony position on his executive order on refugees. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, Mr. Rosenstein got 94 votes out of the Senate, 94 to 6. So the vast majority of Democrats voted for him to be Deputy Attorney General of the United States. And he was praised, as I will show you later, praised by the most loathsome liberal Democrats in the United States Senate. It is he who initiated a look at Comey's conduct. It is he who would be the immediate supervisor to the director of the FBI. And it is he who prepared the memorandum, which spelled out the reasons why he could not tolerate what was going on. And then I have to watch and listen to fools, including Republicans, so-called analysts on all these cable shows, going on and on. Well, the timing is strange. He's pointing back to July 5th, when Comey had his press conference and laid out the case against Hillary, where she should have been indicted. And then he says he's not going to indict. And he says he hasn't discussed it with the Attorney General or any of the prosecutors in the department. It's his own decision. Remember all that? Remember how the Democrats went nuts? Remember how they wanted to get rid of him? The Democrats should pray to God that Comey was director of the FBI, because she should have been indicted. He should have recommended it to the prosecutors and moved it up the line, which he did not do. But that's not even my point. People are saying, well, why would he rely on that? That's 10 months ago. That's 10 months ago. How long has this man been Deputy Attorney General of the United States? Since April 25th. He wasn't Deputy Attorney General of the United States. You know why it took him so long to become Deputy Attorney General of the United States? Because of Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, slow-walking all these nominees. So he's finally there on April 25th. He takes a look at the situation based on his own background as a law clerk, as a prosecutor. He also served in the public integrity section of the criminal division of the Justice Department. He looks at his own experience. He looked at what former attorneys general and former deputies attorney general had to say about all this. And to a man and woman, they condemned what Comey had done, just as most individuals leading both political parties did. And he said, I can't trust this guy. And last week's testimony, he said, was the icing on the cake. When he was asked about what he did in October, again, restarting the Hillary Clinton investigation and so forth, he said at that point, when he's talking about I had no choice, it was either, talk about what took place or conceal it. This man, the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, said that wasn't his choice. He should have followed the rules. He didn't follow the rules. And then as recently as last week, he goes in front of Congress and he says what he did, he was obligated to do when he shouldn't have done any of it. Now, we all know that Comey should have gone. He doesn't have the temperament to be the director of the FBI. He clearly does not. He clearly does not. So the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, here's what he writes to the Attorney General of the United States yesterday. Pull up the graphic, please. And I'm not going to read all of it, but he lays out the case in a 2.5-page memo. He lays out the case to the Attorney General of the United States, restoring public confidence in the FBI. It's a perfectly legitimate position, and it is a superbly explained memorandum. He lays out the case about what took place in July, then the testimony in October, and he lays out the case further about what the former attorneys general and deputies attorneys general had to say. And he's right.